I watched Don't Breathe 2, and I'm going to give you my spoiler-free thoughts, and then after that, I'll go over my spoiler-filled thoughts. I only have a couple. The blind man has been hiding out for several years in an isolated cabin and has taken in and raised a young girl orphaned from a devastating house fire. Their quiet life together is shattered when a group of criminals kidnap the girl, forcing the blind man to leave his safe haven to save her. So I've said before when reviewing a film that I had mixed thoughts on, that particular film. This is one of those films where I have quite mixed thoughts, very mixed thoughts. This is one of those films that just doesn't feel necessary the entire time I'm watching it. Like, I can't justify this film existing. Like, it really just doesn't need to exist. This would probably have been better if it wasn't related to Don't Breathe and were like a whole unrelated story. I feel like then this film might have been better, honestly. If they changed things up a bit and it wasn't related to Don't Breathe, I think it would be probably a better film. Another pretty big problem in this film, which I think is most people's complaints for this film, is the fact that in Don't Breathe 1, it's clear that the blind man isn't the greatest person, to say the least. And in this film, they try to redeem him. And I'm actually not against redeeming the blind man, but I don't think his redemption story worked for me. If they wanted to redeem him, I think they needed to focus more on him and his redemption and how he's changing. And I don't think they focused on that enough. This film also wasn't as intense for me as the first film, but I think that might just be because I was tired when I was watching this film. I also don't really remember many of the action sequences exactly blowing me away. I don't think any of them are horrible, but none of them necessarily blew me away. I think there's a couple pretty decently cool ones. I also couldn't say I was very invested in this film, maybe because I was tired, but I'm not sure. I don't think this film's story itself is bad. I think it could have been better, but I also just don't think it was a great story. A positive I do have for this film is the fact that it is a bit more violent and there is more blood, though I think they should have upped the blood a bit more because it was only lightly upped in the violence department, but I think they could have done a bit more. There was a scene involving eyes, which I thought was pretty good. Also, towards the end of the film, it takes like a dark turn, which I think I liked. Okay, now I'm going to go over my spoiler filled thoughts, so, big spoiler warning. I think they shouldn't have killed off Hernandez, that's the delivery woman, as fast as they did. I thought that her character was going to be more important, and I think they could have made the story more interesting if they kept her alive for a larger portion of the film. I also felt that the whole heart transplant, like, part of the story was a bit out there, but I'm honestly not gonna complain much because I found that part of the film a bit dark and interesting, and I honestly kind of enjoyed it, even though I think, it's a bit out there, but really not that big of a deal. So honestly, those are my thoughts for Don't Breathe 2. I would love to know your opinion on this film if you've seen it, and with that, bye.